Whoa, that was fast. Anyway, welcome everybody. It is our Wednesday training session for our private networking group and others. We are multicasting as usual, and I'm super excited to hand it over as always to the amazing Nick of Wam, the well-oiled machine. Nick of Wam, why don't you set the room for us today?
Absolutely. And happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, we are here with the Wednesday training, streaming everywhere, and of course, live in the Breakfast with Champions. David, it looks like you had started an additional room. If you wouldn't mind just actually making me a moderator on that room so I can invite some of our friends to come up and join us, that would be great. But for today's training, everybody, thank you for joining us. Of course, we're going to guide up to 30 minutes on today's training, and we'll include some Q&A in there as well. So make sure as you have your questions today, of course, if you are joining us live online, go ahead and put those questions in the chat. And if you're joining us live here on Clubhouse in the Breakfast with Champions room and community, of course, use the hand icon in the lower right-hand corner of your screen to request to join the stage. And then, of course, we will aim to bring you up. Now, with that said, David, I know we have a very special friend and guest with us today. So I will turn it back over to you to go ahead and set the stage and bring our friend.
I didn't hear the title of what our training is today.
Yes, so today's training is going to be the cold email, your X factor to 7 figures.
Thank you. I need an appropriate lead in when we're talking about the X factor of how to build a community of people that buy from you and sell for you for life. And I will tell you that, as I teach people, there's 4 ways to build your community today. And the total addressable community is so large. We're talking about billions of people, 7.6 billion in social just alone. And what I think is the most ignored and most powerful of all methodologies, in person, is it on the phone? Is it social media, traditional media, or is it email? For me, the combination of impact, engagement, and efficiency is all in email. There's other aspects. In person isn't efficient. It doesn't reach as many people. Social media isn't as engaged. It's too noisy. The phone in text in itself, again, is cumbersome and not efficient as well. But when we're looking overall at the best modality, the X factor of building a community of people that are going to buy from you and sell for you for life, the most statistically successful way to be successful, the X factor is absolutely email. And the best thing is it's not as competitive and it's not as noisy. There are less and less people that understand the value of the email and knowing how to make sure that emails get to the appropriate party, making sure the emails are copied correctly, utilizing the right content in order to facilitate alignment with the objective at hand. And this can be the X factor. When we talk about the X factor, what does it mean? It's an exponential factor. A lot of people throw around the term X factor and they don't realize what it actually means. It means an exponential factor. It means it doesn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. And in 20 turns of that ASICs, we're in the millions of people. And to get to the people that use email is another X factor of email, meaning that who are the people that are still emailing each other? I'll tell you who it is. It's the C-level executives. It's the middle-aged, excuse my language, the middle-aged white man who is hated and fretted, but is still running the corporate world, which is an effort of mine to change that. But the only way we're going to change it is understanding email and talking to and appreciating the differences between in the context of email. So I sought out, I have spent millions of dollars finding the best people to be in our network. And when I say I've spent millions of dollars, it's through the dummy tax nicks of people overselling me, back end selling me, lying to me, manipulating me, and cheating me, and me wasting money on people not performing and not guaranteeing the performance. And I finally found the guy. I found the guy, and I wanted him to teach us why email is the X factor, how it's the X factor, what the dependent and independent variables are in email being the X factor, coming from a credible, vetted source to be a resource for our entire community. And that person, just like in the Bible, the first son, Adam Rosen, he has risen, and now he is here with us on our Wednesday training session, our webinar on the X Factor of email. Adam Rosen, number one, thank you for everything you've done for me to build my community. Thank you for everything you do for our community to build their community. And most importantly, thank you so much for being here today, selflessly, to share how exactly we can create an email strategy that becomes an exponential factor to our success. Adam Rosen, it's all yours.
Dave, Nick, thank you guys for that intro. You guys should really teach a course on how to give an intro. The way you guys tag team that was unbelievable. So if I was wearing a hat, I'd tip my cap to you guys. So thank you for that. Thank you for having me. And really what I want to share today over the next 20 minutes or so is to pitch you guys on why I think, to Dave's point, cold email can and should be an X factor no matter what business you have. And what I want to do is, and I don't know how many people are in the audience right now, but any questions you have related to email, whether it's cold email, whether it's more newsletter focused, just throw it at me. I'm more than happy to answer it. But what I want to pitch you on is why cold email should be an asset to everyone on this call. And the reason why is I've seen it firsthand for me. Like, just to give you context of what cold email has done for me and what I've seen for others, is cold email helped me raise money for my first tech startup. Cold email helped us land Bank of America, Amazon, Apple, Goldman, Disney as customers, all through cold email. Cold email helped me find the company and ended up buying my first tech startup. Cold email helped me grow to over 100,000 users on our two-sided marketplace that we built as a technology. Cold email helped us get past $1 million ARR, $2 million ARR, and beyond that. Cold email helped us to get on a phone call with now the former CEO, to Dave's point, of MasterCard, Ajay Banga. Got on multiple phone calls, passed me to his CHRO. They ended up buying our software. So that's the power, to give you an idea of what cold email can do for anyone on here. Wherever your imagination can go, that's what cold email can be as an asset to you. Because if you just boil it down, what is cold email? And really, what is marketing in general? It is connecting person A to person B. And what I love about cold email is how direct it is. If you want to get to a very specific title at a very specific type of company, yes, you can put it out there on social media, but there's no guarantee they'll see it. Yes, you can have the best SEO in the world, but there's no guarantee they're going to be searching for it. Yes, you can have the best billboard in the world in Times Square. There's no guarantee they're going to see it. And the list goes on and on. But in email, you can get their email address. And if you can craft a message that's going to resonate with them, that addresses maybe a problem they're looking to solve, or a solution that you offer that may be interesting to add more top line to their business, you can get their attention. So if you can use cold email right, it can get you to anybody you want. We've seen it firsthand. Even for some of our customers that are looking to reach out to the C-suite of all C-suite, private aviation companies that want to reach out to the top level of the top level. We're seeing meetings getting booked with billionaires, but you got to do it right. And that leads into what the challenges of cold email today is, that cold email in 2017 was drastically different than it was in 2023. But the difference between 2023 cold email to today is night and day from what it was from 2014 to 2023. It has evolved to a level where, to Dave's point, there's not as much noise in a lot of ways. And the reason why is what people are saying is, oh, cold email doesn't work, it's dead. And the reality is, they're right in a way. Like, cold email actually doesn't work if you don't know what you're doing. And the gap between knowing what you're doing and being and not knowing what you're doing widens every single day. However, if you can become an expert, if you can learn the craft, if you can be a student in the game, you can separate yourselves from your competition, because there's a lot of industries that just aren't doing it, period. And those companies, those industries, if you can learn this craft, it is the best way to stand out. It is the best way to load your calendar, and is also the most efficient way to do it. All of that, in my humble opinion. So anyway, Nick, I don't know if you have any questions for me, or if there's anyone in the audience that has something specific they want me to dive into. But for me, my agency, we do cold email outreach for startups up to Fortune 500s, but we also have a newsletter business too. Some background there as well, because that might be interesting for some of you guys on here. I bought my first newsletter business in January of 24, grew it from 5,000 subscribers to over 250,000 subscribers while increasing the engagement rate. And then we ended up selling that business a few months ago, back in December of 24. But that led us into learning the newsletter world. And now we're running about 15, 16 newsletters across a wide variety of industries. So if anyone also has any newsletter related questions, more than happy to answer that as well.
Awesome. And thank you so much, Adam. And, the first question I would love to kick off with, and this is coming from, excuse me, a little bit of even a personal perspective. And I know through our conversations, one of the biggest things that, you may face, especially when working with new clients, right, is closed-mindedness, especially as it pertains to a cold email, right? So kind of walk me through how you help not only, challenge that mindset, but then also give clarity, confidence, and comfortability when it comes to, signing on and actually, investing with you and the team.
Yeah, the key is, if you're hiring an expert, let the expert do what you're paying the expert to do. And I try to do that when I'm working with vendors as well. It's like, look, I hired you for a reason. If I trusted you enough then to be an expert, then I'm going to trust you to see through the process. And you're right. There's a lot of people that will sign on and be like, I know exactly what the copy should be. I want it to look like this. And because a lot of the work we do is also backed by guarantees, it's tough when we have to follow what they ask us to say, especially when we know it's not going to work, because it's just going to work against us. For example, one of our earlier customers, I remember, and he's a really sharp CEO, a very, very strong engineering mindset, but he was adamant. I want to use the type of copy that I want to use. And here's what you got to do. And it was one of our most unsuccessful clients for the first 3 or 4 months. Now, thankfully, he said, look, you can remove the guarantees because we're doing it my way. And he got maybe 1-2 meetings tops per month. It was very low. And then we just said, look, do you mind if we take a stab at this? His very next month, he got 25 meetings booked from us. And then from there, he said, look, you guys run with it. Like, I clearly don't know this. Like, you guys know it, you run with it. So the key is just, if you're working with any type of vendor, whether it's us or anybody else, if you really trust that they're an expert, you got to let them run through the process, because they're doing it a heck of a lot more than you are. They're running more trials and split testing. They're students of the game. Like, I see what my team is doing on the back end every single day. I see how much we need to be studying, all the different advisory groups we're in with other CEOs in the industry. Like, we know how much goes into it. And if you're a novice, if you're not in the day-to-day of it, you don't stand a chance. Like, the changes we see, you're going to see 3 months later. It's why whenever I get on a podcast and people ask me about, the tricks of cold email, one of the things I always try to note is, look, by the time you're watching this, 80% of what I've said is probably going to be outdated because it's changing so rapidly. So anyway, the short answer of it, a short answer to your question, Nick, is just, if you're working with an expert, let the experts do what they know probably better than you know, because they're in it all day, every day. Just like with whatever your industry is, you're probably an expert, much more of an expert in it than whoever your customers are.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that insights. And we have some questions that are coming in both online as well as live here on Clubhouse in the Breakfast with Champions community. So I'm going to go ahead and take a question from Tammy online. And she is asking, how do I stop my emails from being thrown into a spam folder by the system itself? This happens even when they're accepted and approved for receiving that person's email. So if you could provide some clarity on that, that would be incredible.
So for anyone watching this, listening to this, if you take one thing away from this whole talk, it's, if you are sending any type of cold email outreach from your primary domain, please, please, please stop. One of the most challenging things, to your point there, was landing in the inbox is harder than ever. And one of my favorite quotes is, you can't hit what you can't see. So if you don't land in the inbox, you don't stand a chance. But landing in the inbox is incredibly difficult. Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, they continue to get more and more strict by the day. So how do you land in the inbox? Number one, it starts with your infrastructure. Again, never send from your primary domain. If your primary domain gets marked as spam, you are SOL, because a proposal to a potential client now can land in spam. So you have to build an infrastructure. You really can't send more than 10 to 20 cold emails per inbox in a day. So if you want to reach out to 100 people in a day through cold outreach, you have to have at least 5, if not 10 email inboxes that you're sending from. If not, you're going to get redirected to spam almost certainly. That's one. Number two is around high quality copy. You no longer can write one good piece of copy, personalize the first name, and press send. Again, Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, they've gotten really good at detecting mass emails. So one of the things you have to do at the bare minimum is something called spin tax, SPINTAX. Basically what that does is it randomizes certain words in your copy. So every email looks slightly nuanced, again, making it more difficult for Google, Yahoo, Microsoft to know this is a mass email. At your best, you want to use tools like Clay and Octave that are complete AI copy so that every email looks drastically different, very customized to that individual person, again, making it difficult for these providers to know if this is a one-to-one email or a mass email. Third thing is around lists. Getting high quality lists is not more difficult than ever, but making sure that their quality, that is the number one thing. So running them through different verification tools to ensure this is a legit contact, because if you start getting a lot of bounces, your email inbox, your domains are going to be marked as spam and they're going to be blacklisted, and you might as well throw those domains out. So those are the three main things you got to do if you want to land in the inbox.
Beautiful. I love it. And I'm going to take another question here that I have online. And this is coming from Colleen. And the question is, how does someone's overall email strategy, how do you align that with their overall marketing and sales objectives? And then also along that process, what are some of the typical KPIs that you integrate in to make sure that your clients are getting the quantitative results?
Yeah, great question. So number one, whenever we're working with a client, one of the things we always ask is like, what's your typical close rate? And a lot of people I found don't really track this, or they track it in different ways, but it's about getting real. Like, how many calls leads to a new customer? Then of course, understanding what a new customer, what does that typically mean in terms of an ACV, an annual contract value? What does that mean to an LTV, your lifetime value? So understanding your basic metrics makes it a lot easier for us to say, look, if we get you 10 meetings in a month and your close rate is 10%, and maybe it takes you 30 to 45 days on average to close a deal, that means that, hey, over 3 months, we should be getting you, around 30 meetings. You should be closing at least at least 3 of those over the next 30 to 45 days. And then are the metrics better? Are you getting better results than that? Or are they worse? Are you getting worse results than that? So that's number one, is understanding your metrics that hey, is this better or worse? Like, I track every meeting we get. Month over month, I know the source of where they came from. I know the close rate. I know how many days it took to close each individual deal. And then what I need to see is, okay, from referrals, am I closing a higher clip or a lower clip? From cold email, higher or lower? From our website, from relationships, from social media, from whatever. I need to understand the metrics that I know, am I doing better or worse? So that's how I like to look at it, because you got to know, like, look, if you're investing $10,000 into paid ads, if you're investing $10,000 into social, if you're investing $10,000 into email in a month, you want to know what's giving you the best return. If you don't know, then it's really hard to decide on your strategy moving forward.
Absolutely. And I'm getting a question from a few different people that are somewhat asking the same thing. This is coming from Christine as well as Colleen. And the question essentially is, how can you make your emails actually stand out? Or, from a personalization standpoint, what are you able to do, especially when hitting what is different audience segmentations?
So ideally, everyone on here would spend 30 to 45 minutes researching your prospect, their job boards, their social pages, their LinkedIn pages, their website, their just company updates in general. And then you write a handcrafted email to them that is incredibly personalized, that fits your solution into a problem they are most likely facing based on all that in-depth research that you did. However, realistically, we do not have the time to do that. Because also with marketing, like you got to reach scale in order to get results. I don't care what marketing you're doing. Email is the same when it comes to that. So how do you have that level of personalization that I just described, but do it at scale? That's where there's two technologies primarily that do a phenomenal job of it. One of them is called Octave. One of them is called Clay. They're the premier tools in the space so that you can do what I just described, but send it to thousands of people, where we'll get replies where people say, never reply to this stuff. However, you clearly did such research on my company. I'm willing to chat with you about this. But in reality, we didn't do any research. It was all about Clay tables that we built that are able to scan the web in some of those ways I was describing, that write a handcrafted email. That looks like somebody had to have spent 30 minutes researching all this stuff. But in reality, it was a high-powered AI technology that we built that ran these different campaigns to make it all look personalized. So that's if you want to do it at the best. However, just being honest, it's incredibly difficult to do. So if you wanted to do that stuff, your best bet is to honestly hire an agency like mine to run it for you, because to do it right is just too difficult if you're not an expert in the space.
Beautiful. And I actually have for our next question here, somebody live on Clubhouse with the Breakfast with Champions community. So we have Tony, who's been patiently waiting. Tony, it's great to see you here, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Happy Wednesday. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask Adam your question. Welcome.
Hey, happy Wednesday. I have a very specific question about ghost pages. And because I'm quite skeptical, I didn't hear the whole conversation. I'm a little bit skeptical about the emails. Do you think they would also work for affiliate products on themed pages on Instagram? And if so, can you share some stories how exactly they worked out? Cheers, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Tony. Do stay on the line if you don't mind. Can you give me a bigger idea of what exactly you're looking for? Who are you looking to connect with? What are you looking to share as an affiliate?
Well, let's say it's a business themed motivation and health page, and we're selling a few products that are related to either business or health, like some of the supplements, or let's say also walking treadmills. But all of those are from affiliate. They are affiliate products.
Yeah. So the way I would recommend using email for what you're looking to do, Tony, and great question, is to leverage less of cold email and more of a newsletter. The reason why is a newsletter, that's where you get to build your brand, build that trust. And then once you have that brand, that trust, and then that audience, that's when then you can sell them your affiliate products. Hey, I use this treadmill. You should check it out here if you're in the market. Boom, they click on it. Now you got an affiliate deal. That's a lot of how we would make some of our newsletter revenue is through affiliates. Sometimes those affiliates pay us on a per click basis. Sometimes it's a per open basis. Other times it's on a per sale basis. But I would focus more on the newsletter route for that versus cold email, because you're right. Cold email to reach out to people saying, hey, you're looking for a new treadmill, click on this link here. It's going to be very difficult versus a newsletter route. That's where I would focus if I were in your shoes looking to build a strong affiliate business.
Awesome. Does that help answer your question, Tony?
Yes, thank you. That sounds very interesting. I'll see how I can implement it. But also, wouldn't that didn't hit the issue that Google and Yahoo and all these services would filter for spam?
No, because if you build a newsletter, those are warm lists, those are opt-ins, and you're also benefiting off of the IP of those providers. So for example, we use a newsletter software called Beehive. Between all of our newsletters, we probably have 800,000-900,000 subscribers, and they're all in their own little workspaces. But for that, you benefit from the IP of Beehive and what they are using, which is why those providers, though, require you to have good engagement. where if your engagement is low, 3, 4, 5, 10% open rates, they're probably going to kick you off of there because you're negatively affecting others on that platform. But so no, if you're using a newsletter software like a Beehive, like a Constant Contact, like a MailChimp, you get to benefit from their shared IP.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good question.
Thank you so much, Tony. And Adam, to help kind of as we round out our Wednesday training session here, and want to thank you again for, of course, taking the time. I have one final question, which is coming from Marius. He's joining us from YouTube, and he's asking, are you a competitor to or work similarly as the company Instantly? And do you recommend a platform for getting quality and vetted email addresses?
Yeah, no, they're not a competitor. We use them for a lot of our sending. So we love Instantly. We have a great relationship. We're actually an Instantly expert, which, we're grateful that they gave us that title. So no, we love Instantly. They're a great sending platform. There's really 3 primary cold email softwares that are good for beginners. One of which is Instantly, one of which is Smart Leads, one of which is Apollo. We prefer Instantly. It's a great beginner tool, and it's part of what we call our core 4 tech stack of Instantly, Clay, Octave, and also a tool called Email Bison, which is also an email sending platform. It is the best one out there for reaching the inbox. However, it is insanely difficult to set up, so I do not recommend it for beginners. But no, we love Instantly. We use Instantly a lot. And for some of our earlier stage companies, we build out their infrastructure, their domains and emails, and then we get them set up into Instantly because it's such a good tool. Then we train them to make sure that they can become an expert at Instantly as well. So no, we love Instantly. We work with Instantly, so they're not a competitor to us at all. Our business, a lot of it is powered through great tools like Instantly.
Fantastic. And Adam, as we close this thing out, we got about 1 more minute left here. I know that there's a lot of interest, as I'm seeing both in the chat as well as live here on Clubhouse in the Breakfast with Champions community in terms of following up with you. So where can people get in touch with you if they would, of course, like to work with you and your incredible agency, or even just have some more questions that, of course, they can get your insights on?
Yeah, feel free to email me. It's just adam@eocworks.com.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Adam, once again for joining us here today. I know you are a familiar face in our community. So everybody, he is not going anywhere. Reach out to him directly, adam@eocworks.com.
EOC.
EOCworks.com.
Email outreach company.
Perfect. And I'll make sure we put that in the chat, both online as well as in the Breakfast with Champions. And Adam, thank you again. And we will see you very soon, my friend.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Talk soon.
Beautiful. And as we go ahead and close out this training session, everybody, thank you so much for joining us for the Wednesday training. Of course, if you would like to reach out to Adam directly, once again, it's just adam@eocworks.com. And there he is himself, Mr. David. It's great to see you back.
Whoa. Yes, I was trying to figure out my audio, so hopefully you can hear me. I want to reiterate the exponential factor of email and the amount of time, emotion, and value that we spent to find the expert. And so please join our private networking group, get access to great people like Adam Rosen. Please reach out to us if you need anything. Our experience, the process of vetting and trusting the individuals that we do. So sorry, Nick, you're getting me feedback again. I don't know why. Anyway, please, we're going to be at SoFi Stadium tomorrow. Please join us with people like Adam. We'll have Austin Eckler. We have Marcellus Wiley. Ryan East's going to come for dinner. Then we'll be at Expo West in Anaheim. We have the Catalyst Mastermind. We have Florida, which includes Naples, Fort Lauderdale, Boca, and Miami with the elevator nights, elevator pitches, the Aspire Tour. And then we also have the Masters coming up in Augusta. So reach out, david@dmeltzer.com. Remember, most importantly, be more interested than interesting. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds.